Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to a brand new Film Photography Friday. Today I'm going to be talking about the Contax G1. I got this baby about a week or two ago and I absolutely love shooting with it. I brought it to Croatia with me and I shot some of it with Kodak Pro Image 100, and yeah, going to be talking about these in this week's video. So first things first, sorry that I haven't been around for the last few weeks. Basically, the last video you saw was when I was in Copenhagen. I was back in Germany then, flew back to Ireland, had to go down to visit my family. Then we flew off to Croatia, and the day after I arrived back from Croatia, I went up to Belfast to visit Jess for a few days. And now I'm finally back and finally doing a video again. Also, before we start this video, I'm gonna plug my Patreon again. Basically, if you feel like my videos are worth maybe the cost of a roll of film or the cost of a cup of coffee every few weeks, then I'd really appreciate if you could add to my Patreon. The link is going to be down below in the description, and it does really help me out. As you all know, film is expensive, and having to get the rolls developed and all that, I absolutely love the process, but it just makes my job a small bit easier being able to do it with a bit of support. So if you want to check out the Patreon link and add something there, then I'd be greatly appreciative of that. As soon as I have a few people on Patreon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding rewards and adding stuff like prints and magazines and stuff like that. If you have rolls of film, either if they're expired or you want me to review them or you just feel generous, then just send me a message. And also, if you are bulk loading film that you want me to test, or you have a small film photography business and want me to review any of the film that you're now selling or producing, then just send it over. I'd happily review all of those products. So without further ado, let's talk about the Contax G1. The Contax G1 was produced in the early to mid 90s as a bit of a response to Leica. It was kind of seen as an alternative to Leica that had a lot more automatic controls while also keeping amazing lenses on it. So all of the lenses for the Contax G system were Carl Zeiss T-star lenses. The 45 and the 35 were both f2 lenses, whereas the others, I think the 28, the 90 and the 21 were f2.8. There's also a zoom lens which doesn't work on the G1, and there's also a hologon which is an f8 lens. That lens looks crazy. It's like it barely even protrudes from the body, and it has this like crazy viewfinder up top as well. It's just a crazy lens. It's a 16mm and it's really expensive as well. I bought the Contax G1 from Japan. I got the 45 f2 lens. I got the TLA 120 or 140 flash, the nice one that sits up top. Don't have it to hand, I'm afraid, but I also have the data back, the Contax GD1 data back on the back as well. I don't have a battery in this yet because I'm not the biggest fan of data backs, but I'm going to put one in at some stage, and maybe for like some shots I might just turn it on. Basically, I know what a data back does, I just don't like the fact that it takes up part of the frame. So the day that this camera arrived, I drove from Killarney to Kildare, dropped off some of my stuff at Jess's house, and I then picked up this camera which arrived that morning. I took the camera out of the box. I was amazed at how small it was, and then I brought it to Croatia with me, where I put batteries into it and I put film into it as well. And the first thing I noticed was that the film counter on this is not working. It's kind of only showing like the top half of the digits, which is a pain, but the rest of the camera is absolutely beautiful. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this body, I'm going to keep this setup, and I just bought another Contax G1 body, which is actually in an even better condition than this, and it doesn't have the frame counter issue at all. Basically, when the 21mm f2.8 lens arrives, I'm going to put that on the other body and just have both bodies set up at the same time. When I got to shooting this, the size was one of the first things that amazed me, but also the build quality. It just feels so nice. It feels like just a heftier T2. It's really nice, feels really nice in the hands, and when you see the glass and you see just how well it's built, you know you're holding a quality product in your hands. If you look up top, it has a screen that shows you what the ISO is, or if it's using the X code, the drive mode in terms of single, continuous, or if it's like bracketing or something. On top then you also have a shutter speed dial and also the focus dial like you have on the Contax T2. Basically what this camera does that I absolutely adore, and I wish that the Contax T2 had it. It was the one thing I always wished that the Contax T2 had, and then when I started using this and realized that this actually has it too, I was like, this is my perfect camera now. So basically I wanted a rangefinder style camera, and the problem with the Contax T2 is it's not that the autofocus is bad, it's just that you don't know exactly what it's focusing on. So if I'm taking a picture of, say, the camera, I don't know if it's actually going to focus on the camera or infinity behind the camera. Whereas with this, it has a feature where, because it has this LCD screen in the bottom of the frame, you can see on a distance scale what the autofocus is trying to focus on. And then as well, if you change the aperture to a higher aperture, the autofocus is going to show you the hyperfocal distance that's okay to shoot in with that aperture. So that's a really, really handy feature, and made this so handy for like shooting street while I was over in Zadar. Inside the viewfinder you can also see the shutter speed that's being used. So if you have it on auto, if it starts blinking and has an arrow going up, you have to close down the aperture a bit, because this has aperture priority mode, but it doesn't have a program mode as such. So the aperture is always manual. Yeah, it's just a beautiful camera to use. And as well, if you use the manual focus wheel, you can see on the distance scale just what you're focusing on. When you put the lens on, the viewfinder actually magnifies to the same magnification as the lens, which basically allows you to frame things a lot better. But it also has parallax correction. So if you go to focus it, and if you're focusing at infinity, basically the whole viewfinder will be visible. But if you go to focus on something that's a bit more nearby, if I can find something, you can hear that noise, and basically what it does is it actually shrinks down the viewfinder to show you what you're actually going to have in frame. And basically the reason for that is because the viewfinder is up here and the lens is here. So obviously as I get closer to something, I'm going to have that air of parallax. That's kind of pretty much it. And apart from that, it feels beautiful. I think it meters really well, and I've never actually had any issues with the autofocus on this, especially because I know what it's going to be focusing on. Other than that, it's a pretty simple camera, and it's a pretty nice camera. I have used a few Leicas before, and I do honestly enjoy using this more for the purposes that I use it for. So basically, because I like using this, and I like using it for two reasons. One is it's great to just have an autofocus camera like this, but it's also great to have a camera where I can see the hyperfocal distance that's being used through the viewfinder, and then I can literally just set it to, let's say, 5 meters, between 5 meters and infinity, and if I set it to like f8 or something, it's going to show me that I can shoot between 5 meters and infinity and always have stuff in focus. And I can shoot kind of almost from the hip as well then, if I do that. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that when my 21mm f2.8 lens arrives. It's a good bit quieter than an SLR camera because it doesn't have a mirror in it at all, but it's not exactly the most discreet camera. So I have a Konica Hexa arriving this week, which is meant to be absolutely silent, and I'm going to be doing a video on that soon. But this still has a bit of noise, and you're going to hear just how fast it advances to the next frame. Basically, as soon as the shutter's recocking, the next frame is also recocked, and it's just so lightning fast. And that was it. That's pretty much it. Yeah, it is a beautiful camera, and there's really not much I can say about it. The build quality is beautiful, and I think this is going to be a camera I'm going to treasure for a long time. Obviously, this in comparison to a Leica, they each have their own use. At the moment, I really like this because It allows me to think more about composition rather than having to fiddle with settings and stuff like that. And I really do enjoy using it. It does give me more control than the T2 does, and it gives me more confidence than the T2 does. The T2 still has its place, or have their places, because I have a few of them, but this is going to have a special place, and I think this is going to be the main camera that I bring with me when I go places. And I'm also going to probably use this quite a bit professionally as well, just because of how nice and how well built this Zeiss lens is. So as I said at the start of the video, I paired this camera with Kodak Pro Image 100. Now this film is stunning. I heard amazing reviews about this film, and it's only recently been released in the EU and Europe, and I don't think it's available in North America at the moment, but basically it was available in most of Asia, especially Japan and places like that, and it's made for wedding photographers and portrait. As you can see by the box, there's a few images of wedding shots as well, and you can see what they're aiming for is kind of skin tones and kind of a very natural look. And as I said, I heard amazing reviews about this, so I decided the morning that I was going to Croatia, I went to John Gunn's in Dublin and I picked up this 5-pack of that film, and honestly I don't regret it at all. So I shot 2 rolls of this film in Croatia. I only brought 2 with me for some reason, and even before I got my developed negatives back, I went back to John Gunn's and I picked up another 5 rolls. So I currently have another 8 rolls of this to shoot, one of which is currently in the Contax G1. But yeah, it's a beautiful film, and I'm so happy with having chosen this film for Croatia. I just wish I brought more of it. It's actually not that expensive either. I paid €30 for this. I think some places you might be able to get it for like 25, other places for 35, but it's not too bad a price for film. It is ISO 100, which is going to kind of annoy me as we get into winter in Ireland because it's already really dark here. But in terms of things like even using the studio lighting that I'm using right now, it's going to be perfect for those kind of things, and I think it's going to be really well paired with the Contax G1. So I'm going to show you my pictures that I took in Zadar with the Contax G1 and Kodak Pro Image 100 in just a moment. Before I do that, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching this. Thank you so much for anyone that has subscribed to my channel and who has kept watching all of the Film Photography Friday episodes. It really means a lot because I really enjoy using this medium and sharing my thoughts on this medium. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If you haven't checked out all of the other videos, they're all in a playlist, probably off to one of the sides of this video. And also, as I said, the Patreon link is going to be down there, and once a few people sign up for that, I'm going to start giving rewards and possibly doing like prints and other special things there. And also, if you want to see what I'm up to and if you want to see my pictures, then make sure to follow me on Instagram, which is @RNAFleming. I'm going to shut up now and let you enjoy these pictures. Thank you so much for watching and take care. Bye bye.